The entire Chicago Police Department has turned on the mayor Brandon Johnson after he called him a sickness that doesn't help keep the community safe. He also calls ICE agents slave masters, a nice switch up from Nazi Gestapo who are separating families in the name of cruelty. Even after an ICE facility in Texas was shot up, he continues to intentionally use inflammatory, exaggerated, violence-inciting rhetoric because, newsflash, that's the point. Democrats are trying to stop the enforcement of federal immigration law through violent resistance because they don't care about the safety, well-being, or prosperity of American citizens, only illegal immigrants. But let's hear Brandon Johnson compare ICE agents to slave masters.
It's not the first time this country has done this. And this is why it's important that as black and brown folks, we stand together. Because I come from a lineage which this country ripped black mothers and black fathers away from black children to build this capitalistic society. And they're doing it again. As I've said before, this is not hyperbolic. There are those in this country who still believe that the Civil War went the wrong way. And I just want immigrant community, whether you're documented or not, that this country has done these type of acts before, and that there are people who understand that. And because we do understand that, it's why I'm able to stand so boldly and so firmly in opposition to what this government is doing. Ripping families apart while abdicating their responsibility to actually fix our broken immigration system.
How come any time an American citizen is arrested and goes to jail, they never characterize it as ripping them away from their families? It's only when illegal immigrants are arrested that they enact this massive moral outrage and start comparing law enforcement to slave owners. It doesn't matter to Brandon Johnson that a huge percentage of ICE agents are Hispanic. He's just a despicable race hustler who seizes on any opportunity to push a narrative that we're all under the boot of white supremacy because it makes him feel like a virtuous freedom fighter. His language of black and brown communities is inherently racist at its core. You're lumping people into categories by skin color and then broadly attributing characteristics to them and viewing them as a monolith, not an individual. Literally the opposite of don't judge me by my skin color, judge me by the content of my character. But Brandon Johnson thrives on furthering the racial divide in America, claiming everything in America is racist and evil, and that's why despite Chicago being the murder capital of America for 13 years straight, he calls law enforcement a sickness that actually doesn't make the community safer. Take a look.
The fact of the matter is, we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Chicago's police department is already understaffed, and this kind of rhetoric coming from the city's mayor only furthers the death spiral. When police feel like the city's mayor hates them and doesn't appreciate their service, why would they continue to risk their lives to try and keep the city safe if their efforts are just going to be in vain? Why would they continue to put themselves in harm's way and take bad guys off the street if the bad guys are just released back into the public because to put them in jail would be racist? And then they quit, which leads to more understaffing, which ultimately leads to crime becoming more prevalent, and then citizens with means leave the city because it's crime infested, which leads to less tax revenue for the city, which leads to less money being spent on law enforcement, and the cycle just continues. But let's hear Chicago's state attorney, who's backed and endorsed by the police, respond to Brandon Johnson's comment calling them a sickness.
Enforcement is a sickness comment took off in some conservative and pro-police circles on social media, even prompting Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke.
The statement was disappointing and disheartening. We are part of law enforcement. The state's attorney's office is the prosecution arm, and that is clearly law enforcement.
To voice her own outrage during a sit-down interview with me on a different topic.
I have 1,300 people who work in this office who are dedicated public servants, who get up every single day to make sure that they keep women safe from domestic violence, to make sure that we are doing our jobs in protecting children from being sex trafficked, to make sure that we are prosecuting murder cases. what we do every day does not call for our eradication.
Liberal hippies, criminals, and anarchists, which coincidentally describes the entire Democrat Party. Normal people appreciate law enforcement putting their lives on the line to make our lives safer, especially in a city like Chicago, which has the nickname Chirac because it's compared to a war zone. But listen to this reporter ask Brandon Johnson, since you hate law enforcement so much and they're so ineffective, are you willing to get rid of the 150 officers on your own private security detail?
Your wife, Stacy, be willing to cut your security detail from 150 sworn police officers and put those police officers back on the street where they can protect real Chicagoans?
So we're very proud of the work that we're doing collectively to ensure that our police officers have the resources that they need. As I've said repeatedly, it's policing and affordable housing, it's policing and youth employment, it's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's going to take all of us, the business community, the philanthropic community. We're working collectively with Cook County government, the state of Illinois, the state's attorney as well. The volume of cases that we are pushing towards the state's attorney so that we can continue to close out these cases as we really drill down with our detectives division as they solve crime, as they get the evidence over to the state's attorney, gives her the ability to make the prosecution so that we can continue to deter crime in the city of Chicago. That's a holistic approach that we're taking. Thank you.
Democrats may be fine with performative virtue signaling, but the people you need to risk their capital to help uplift these areas certainly aren't. And while Brandon Johnson pretends to speak for the residents of Chicago with his 6% approval rating, the last thing I want to show you in this video is some actual residents on the street giving their opinion on the crime problem.
We want ICE to come. Please, everybody try to help Chicago and call ICE. The number is 866-DHS2-ICE. We are going to move our people away from this culture of liberal failure that has compromised our sovereignty and left the citizens of Chicago behind. Go Red.
I will tell you right now, I'm a person that lives on the south side of Chicago. Let's talk about what things that's happening in our neighborhood, but you want to put a Band-Aid and you want to act like this town is good. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how many people get killed in downtown Chicago every weekend. Don't board up things to put a Band-Aid on a crisis.
It's a shame. It's awful.
And Brandon Johnson doesn't do anything to stop it?
Brandon Johnson is not worth a quarter. He's not worth a quarter. Clean the city up and keep it clean. Don't make it look good. Don't put a facade on for the people that's coming here. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think he should have another term, period. I will never vote for him. Never.